I noticed when I was shaving one day a lump on the left-hand side of my neck. I then had a biopsy. I had the lump taken out, which by that stage was the size of a chicken's egg, and that was sent away. And then I got a call 48 hours later from the surgeon saying, "I'd like to see you tomorrow morning and bring your wife with you." At that stage, I began to know very quickly what head and neck cancer was all about.
The thoughts that go through your mind are mainly for other people. All these things go through your head, and then you think, oh my God, I'm in trouble here.
I think I needed something more than a cup of tea, which I was offered when I was told about it.
It changes, just the atmosphere in the house changes. It was a lot colder.
If the thoughts that go through your mind are mainly for other people.
It terrified me. I raced back to my wife, and I then, being a solicitor, went back to sort out my will, and I really did panic.
We're all scared by the C word, aren't we? We don't even want to say it, cancer. Yes, I was terrified. I was terrified.
Dad was mingling around the house with his head down, and I was going, oh no, there is something wrong with Dad, isn't there? And that's when Mum was kind of started crying, and you go, oh, there is something serious wrong here. And then, yeah, she told me, and I said, look, your dad's got throat cancer. You just kind of, you got to then deal with it. So, yeah.
I mean, cancer doesn't just affect the person, the patient. It spreads. You know, the whole family is affected, friends, everyone.
Graham Cox, my consultant, the very first interview, said to me that if he had to have a cancer himself, he'd rather have mine, because he could actually cure me.
What we thought was, and my wife will tell you this as well, she thought this is just a case of we're going to go in, you know, cut a bit out, and it will heal, and that's it.
You go in there the day before, and the relevant people, the anaesthetists and all the rest of it. But then the doctor comes the night before and he tells you exactly where we're going to be, what we're going to do, what the procedure is.
It doesn't matter how much they say to you, you are not prepared for this.
And those operations can go on for anything from 5 to 18 hours at a time, removing the tumour, and then with the aid of our plastic surgeons and other colleagues, putting the patient back together again so that they can speak and swallow afterwards. And the radiotherapy treatment that we have often to use also has very major effects on people's lives.
The first month or so, I was told that you know, it should be not quite a walk in the park, but it's very much like having x-rays taken. It doesn't hurt, but over a period of time, and then particularly at the back end, in week 5, week 6, you begin to get symptoms on the outside of your skin like sunburn. You begin to get blisters down your throat. It begins to get very difficult to eat food.
You've got to go, right, it's going to be fine, it's only radiotherapy, he's going to come out the other end positive, so you just try and keep, again, the negative things in the back of your head.
My throat just totally swollen. I couldn't eat anything at all. It was like eating broken glass.
But the cure is better than, you know, the actual situation you find yourself in at the end of it.
It's horrendous. It's horrendous. You know, to see someone go through that is terrible.
The good news about head and neck cancer is if you catch it early, it's very treatable. The problems we have is recognising the symptoms early and getting those patients into the system, if you like.
Commonality of the disease and the severity of the disease is not proportionally funded, so I think there's a need to have extra funding.
By being able to have also more trained staff, you will be able to accelerate the pace of discovery. And of course some of the equipment is incredibly expensive, so you know, we're really struggling to get some of the equipment we would like to have.
Essentially, if we wanted to fund one extra person and their lab project, and either a clinician or a scientist, plus all the cost of the chemicals and biopsy samples and so on, you're talking about probably £60,000 a year for 3 years, say £200,000 as a lump sum that will give a single clear step forward. That's the minimum.
The head and neck cancer research is not covered by the normal you know, cancer charities. So we are really dependent, well, certainly the research people are dependent very much on Heads Up, you know, for their funding. And we've just got to get to the bottom of this really horrible disease.
What we're trying to do through Heads Up is to make sure that we raise enough money to support science research programs to look at new ways of treating head and neck cancer, so the results of radiotherapy and surgery aren't as debilitating.
We've got to, haven't we? We've got to do everything we can and more to put funds this way to research, because there can't be enough money, there can't be enough research.
So obviously it's always in the back of my mind, God, it could take a turn for the worse, it could do this. You just try and keep that at your back of your head and just carry on doing what you're doing, and hopefully that will distract you from the bad side of it.
So I think it probably took about a year, all told, before I could see a bit of light.
I've realised I'm no longer immortal, and every day is a wonderful occasion for me.
The warmth just suddenly floods through the doors and stuff, and you kind of go, oh, this is what I've been longing for the last 6 months.
There are two main ways of helping Heads Up. Firstly is to go onto our website, Heads Up, and you'll find the links onto how you can actually donate money to the charity. Or secondly, you can contact Barry Wilshire at the John Radcliffe Hospital in Oxford, and he will be able to help you and point you in the right direction. I've been one of the lucky ones. You know, I'm here 7 years later, so I'm lucky one.